Situated in the southwestern part of Africa, Namibia is a land of contrasting beautiful scenery and untapped fauna and flora. These attributes make it one of the perfect locations for international films. In the past, many international films were shot in Namibia, such as Red Scorpion, A Space Odyssey, The Gods Must Be Crazy, The Cell, Flight of the Phoenix, Beyond Borders, 10,000 BC, and many more. Of recent, the 6th Oscar-winning film Mad Max Fury Road was also filmed in 2013 in the Namib Desert and is today regarded as the most successful film shot in Namibia. The Namibian Film Commission has been at the helm of these developments since its inception as a statutory body that was established by Act 6 of Parliament in 2000. The NFC is mandated to support, encourage, and promote film productions as well as the development of the film industry in Namibia.
There are many activities that the Film Commission does that all contribute towards the development of the industry. And that's where the separation lies. Okay? We have the domestic industry, and we have the international industry. The international industry comes into the country, they service or they come and they film here. And when they film here, they are employing Namibians, they are hiring our cars, or they're actually interacting with our service providers, hotels, and suppliers in terms of water, wood, timber, etc., etc.
Today, the growth of the Namibian film industry can also be justified by the number of both local and international films shot in Namibia, creating thousands of jobs for temporary and permanent employees on film sets and local film companies.
You're wearing perfume in the middle of the desert.
Equally, the government through the Namibia Film Commission and its stakeholders continue to finance and offer support to companies and individuals in the film industry. Are these investments bearing fruits?
We're not able to make films and, we survive on corporate stuff, but really what we want to do is, tell local stories, but we're not able to because we don't have the resources, we don't have the infrastructure, and there's only that much we can do. I mean, we can't just shoot at our parents' house all the time and, and shoot on weekends. It's just not possible.
The film community that we're having, that obviously Namibians should get an advantage in getting their films funded. But at the same time, obviously, I think in the end we have to see not what kind of story are we telling, what is the skin color of the person behind the camera, or what is the tribe of the person behind the camera, but really fund all kinds of and try to get all kinds of Namibian stories done, because there's such a lack in. We've got such huge diversity in this country, which is fantastic, but it doesn't really reflect in our stories that we're telling yet. So I hope that there should be all genres, all kinds of films being funded.
There is, what I can say, there is potential in Namibian film. It's just lack of resources also that we don't have. Like, for example, to get a good lighting, good camera equipment and stuff, we need to go to South Africa to go and get it. That's extra cost. So if there's like a company in Namibia that provides those stuff, I think the film industry can grow. And people that do have film companies, they tend to do things or everything by themselves. They tend to sponsor because, as I said, it's very difficult to get sponsorship. They need to get the money together to actually bring this whole thing together. So they end up or tend to do everything by themselves, and that's why most of the time it doesn't really work out, because you need different people to bring their different views and what they can bring to the table to make it happen. I'm
mean, let's look at the Namibia Film Commission. They are up and willing to finance good stories, good films, and I mean, if we as the young talent, if we are pushing it and we push really hard, then I know that the Film Commission will finance this, and there is a future. I see people being hired as directors, production assistants, because if they can give insurance to equipment and to the actors, if they are willing to provide transport and backup and everything and pay for all this production cost, then there is a future in this industry. Because last year we did a workshop with the Namibia Film Commission, and they laid out all this, how much they will give for a film budget and how much they are willing to sponsor this film and to make it through. And I see that there is a future. It's now us who have to push, and it's the government that has to implement more television schools, like he said, not only in Windu but also in other regions, because talents are there deep in the villages. People have stories to tell, but how will they tell them when we look so far and they can't get here?
We bring in specialization producers, directors or writers in the country to host workshops to Namibian filmmakers in different areas that we feel lacks or need to be improved in terms of skills development, and also the capacity enhancement of our local filmmakers. Those are amongst the few that we are involved in, but also on top of that, last year we also sent a number of students, because we have seen that one of the crucial elements or skill lacking is on production side, and we send a number of production students on video editing to AFDA, where we partnership with AFDA, is one of the prestigious film schools in Africa, to improve their editing skills using the top of the range or end of technology software like Avid and Final Cut.
So when it comes to employment creation, I think it will play a very big role, because a film production or a film house needs a lot of people to work on it. It's not just one or two people or the smart people or whatever. Every little thing, the electricians to set, to build in lights or whatever. A lot of people, a lot of aspects, a lot of talent is needed for that. And I think that if the opportunity is put there for people to be trained in this industry, I think problem with employment is going to go, it has to go down a little bit, because there are people out there that have the talent but no means to make a living from it.
We need to look at getting the actors and to get more experience somewhere, or maybe to go and study about what is needed, and the directors and the others. I think there is also much more needed to do. Technology-wise, I think there is still much more to do.
Other countries, of course, have that advantage. Yet we have a film commission, for example, which other countries, again, don't have. So the film commission could be a walking stick to produce a content and quality content. Yet it is also a very politicized context in which the film commission works.
The film commission receives government funding, and this government funding, the film commission administer this funding to different filmmakers and also other filmmaking projects that are involved throughout the country. Or we fund, or we give a grant of to around 4 to 6 short films per year. We also have the documentary, which is a different category that we also funding. We make call out throughout the media nationwide.
Yeah. I think what the government could support with is grants. You cannot produce a theatre play or a dance piece or a film without funding. And in a lot of countries, actually art councils have got the mandate, or film councils have got the mandate to fund good projects. And I think that is something that is a little bit missing in Namibia. I know that the government is funding some short films, for example, and I know the government has put money in some of the productions, but not enough to develop and sustain the industry. If you only have one grant per year and a couple of short films per year, that's not enough for the industry to grow. So if you take example like European countries or some African countries like South Africa, they've got big film commissions, they've got big art councils, and they found projects, and that's important.
Everybody wants to contribute towards the film industry, but unnaturally, those with the abilities have been sidelined to the benefit of certain people, a select group of people created around the Film Commission, which is also another sad story.
I watch more international films, and I just think our industry still need to grow to be at that level. Let me say maybe like the South African level.
A similar institution like ours, which is provincial in South Africa, provincial, that caters for a province, has a budget of 70 million. Okay? Film Commission has 9 million. We have to do more with less. Our focus is not who and who you're married to, what political affiliation you have. That's not the litmus test here. The litmus test here is impact. Can you employ people? Can you make the film and complete it? The answer to that question being yes, most of those people will get funding from the NFC. What we need to do more is to inform the public about products that are available at the NFC. We don't have the means currently under the act that we have to do the work that everybody wants us to do.
There is some base for the development of the film industry here. At the moment, it develops at a snail's pace due to certain circumstances and factors. One of them is that too much emphasis is put on movies that should be internationally box office hits. And we haven't reached that point yet.
The Film Commission is going through a transformation. It's going from a government agency with limited controls and powers to a state-owned enterprise that is able to regulate the industry and is self-regulatory, which means that the power is really now in the filmmakers' hands, in the people's hands. They determine their destiny and their future. So that is happening as we speak, and I'm proud to say that we have many drafts into the bill, and it's going to be one of those bills that are going to be transformative, not just in Namibia but also in Africa and in some parts also of the world.
Namibia, with its unique attractions, is also enjoying its status as an international film destination. However, many film producers, actors, enthusiasts and stakeholders continue to debate whether there are enough benefits for Namibia deriving from international films shot in Namibia.
Government should look more into investing in what we have in local. Like she just said, like people believe more in what is coming from the outside, and what comes from the outside is not really, it's not coming here to stay. It just comes and goes. So we need things that have to stay here. We need to create our production companies that are from here. They belong to us. Instead of us always have to hire people from the outside to come and shoot or come and produce, take the money with them and go invest it in their own land wherever they come from.
Saudi Arabia has got a desert, you understand? Nobody from America will just go in Saudi Arabia and just film. Why? Because their level of intelligence is higher. They understand the industry. They are very educated people. Why do they take Namibia? I think most of the time is because they see it as an opportunity of low employment. You understand? Plus, also looking at the experience within Namibia with the level of people that are involved in advocating for the film industry are limited. And those that are actually outspoken are shut up, like take this, you can get this opportunity, and they don't support the industry per individual, but they support themselves because they're also suffering on their own. Say, as long as I can produce a film and get something from Film Commission, why should I stand against them? But I think it can be improved if we can help educate each other and find the value within our resources, whether it's human resource or whether it's the natural resource.
Okay, those all Mad Max and all big projects that we had in Namibia, but there's no revenue that I can see as a film. I'm also a filmmaker on my own. As a filmmaker, as I can see that there's nothing that taken to the other film industry or film houses to produce something locally.
Okay, it's not necessarily about the money. If international, I'm not really concerned about the money that I'll be getting. It's more of the experience that I'll get. So if these guys come from Hollywood and stuff, they should give us workshops, like how did they do this and stuff like that, just to build on, equip us also. Like next time if we do a film, we know what to do as well.
I think those that come to Namibia and make films here in Namibia should expose youngsters or students who are also interested in the film industry. I don't know, they can perhaps establish a certain fund, and this can enable young Namibians who wish to study further in this field, give them an opportunity to finish and complete their studies, and they can also do this overseas.
I think we will all take over and grow rapidly. At this stage it's very slow and people are coming in behind the scenes on tourist visas, sneaking crew in and taking advantage of also permits and things like that, which I hope can be sorted at some stage and that our crew gets more benefit of it, and obviously also the cast. International productions are highly professional. And just to mention, if they get a crew member that comes late, doesn't follow instructions, looks untidy, wears from another production a t-shirt, has alcohol on his mouth or other substances. To have a film financed in this country, if it's a local production, it is very difficult. We could have corporate companies and so investing in us if we would educate them, because after all we belong to arts and culture as well, and a film is an investment. Look at Katatura, how well it's doing. It's really turned itself around, and that we need to educate people about it. We need to have workshops like in Old Mutual and the banks and all these big companies. And besides that, we need to also speak to Receiver of Revenue, Ministry of Finance, that they get a tax directive for any investment. I've already spoken to the legal department there, how they could structure it. And I just need a bit of weight behind me to help in this, and that will help potential investors saying, okay fine, I'm prepared to sponsor a movie for 60% because I'm getting the tax benefit of it.
I think the filmmakers or film industry must study the technology, how they make the quality film.
We have to grow this, not only Namibia alone, but this continent at large. We can't stay behind. Those people are making good money out of what Africa has. But as Africa are still sitting here back, laid back and still suffering. And it's funny how those people, they come to Africa, make good money, and then they tell their Western side of what they think Africa is, that it's a poor country, hungry people. But they don't regard the fact that we make them win these Grammys.
Yeah, because even at the end of the day, I don't think like in these awards, for starters, the school have gone like, okay, for starters, before you even say anything, Mad Max was shot in Namibia. Then, because there will be people there like, okay, Mad Max won awards at, okay, location, where was the shoot? Credits. Exactly.
Yeah, the sad thing is that over the years, local people were really not introduced to filmmaking. What used to happen in the past is that the South Africans, because they are the more present in the industry, when they are contracted to do a picture, for example, they will bring South Africans, do everything, even including filmmakers, imagine that. And they will use them in Namibia and take them back to South Africa. But however, now over the last couple of years, we've been telling them, hey guys, this is our home, this is our town, so make use of us. So they've been slowly making inroads. Local people have been in the industry, picking up some skills. And now they have introduced some training scheme where local people will be trained in every department. So we tell them, look, we want an X number of trainees in each department.
We are seeing a lot of interest coming to Namibia for our locations, for the infrastructure that we have. Max is the largest budget ever in Southern Africa. It's 150 million US. And 524 million Namibian dollars was actually spent on the ground. More than 1,000 people were employed, and the impact was wide-ranging in terms of the contribution to the GDP. 150 million went into things like withholding tax alone, so that went to treasury. Those are impressive numbers, and we're proud that we're continuing the trend with more films interested in filming in Namibia.
The past few years, more and more, jobs have been, more and more international productions have been coming to Namibia, so it's becoming a lot easier. But again, it's like a tight circle almost. It's not really that easy to get a job.
With regard to these international films coming into the country, it's a good thing. It's to do with skill sharing. But that one is also very explicit in selectivity. With certain people always get the jobs. Nobody else is allowed in.
On that nature.
Yeah, in terms of the historical ownership of the industry, we are 26 years old. We don't come from homes where you have money to set up a facilitation company, or even come close to buying equipment. Equipment in this industry is quite expensive. And the systems that you have to have, number one, the capital that you need to market your company, to these companies, the international companies, to feel that you might be a person that they can do business with. These are relationships that come from a long time ago, 1970 something. So what we're doing with the Film Commission, we're trying to upscale our own. We have an incubation fund where we provide funding $100,000 per company to say, get the systems in order, your office systems, and your marketing tools such as website, telecommunication, fax, whatever the method would be efficient for your business. And you can use that to be sustainable. So you could do that to do business with NGOs, do business with the corporate sector, whether it's still commercials. You can do business with NBC, as well as do business with the internationals.
I remember Colin Gibson, who is now the production manager on Mad Max Fury Road, actually coming to our stand and said that, look, we are thinking of bringing Mad Max to Namibia. And 2.5 years later, they're shooting Mad Max in Namibia.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Mad Max Fury Road. Mad Max.
Mad Max. Mad Max.
Mad Max Fury Road.
The unique features of the world's oldest desert, the Namib Desert, have of late become preferred sets for major international film productions with permission from the Namibia Film Commission, such as the award-winning George Miller's post-apocalyptic sequel, Mad Max film. However, there are concerns from environmentalists as cited online about the possible environmental damage caused by international films, especially in the Namib Desert.
It was hard to know who was more crazy. Me or everyone else.
The Mad Max movie was filmed in an area that was recently named as the Dorob National Park. Parts of the desert are designated for tourism, while others are set aside for particular species of endangered animal and plant life. It is alleged that the Mad Max film crew damaged areas which are meant to be protected from human activities, threatening lizards, geckos, chameleons, and the rare lithops cactus.
Namibia is not so known. It's out there. Nobody will be in their way to shoot. There were some environmentalists from Namibia who were asking whether shooting in that pristine landscape, the desert, which is for centuries has been protected, and it's kind of sensitive also whether it will not damage the environment and so on. But then our government came and they said that, look, let the people shoot. We cannot be sitting with a desert which is not of benefit if we're talking about millions that have been spent in our country. However, also the positive thing that the producers of Mad Max did is to take a botanist and some other people and they actually did the tests on some landscape and they cleaned up afterwards. And it is fine. Like it wasn't touched.
The environmental impact, I think the Film Commission is not the right institution to say yes or no, or it's good or bad, or damage done or not. These are not, so to say, that's not the area of expertise. So that we should really leave for environmental officers from MEP to basically assess and prior to filming to give, so to say, the certificate or not. It is not the Film Commission who is able to speak on that. Neither am I. I'm not an environmental officer or anything. I cannot say the environmental impact. What we can see is that there definitely seems to have been some impact. I'm not judging if good or bad, I'm just saying impact, because again, this is not my area of expertise.
A film like Mad Max, the size that it is, anything would blow up. Okay, so in terms of the environmental, damage, let's talk about that. Yeah. The custodian of the national parks and the environment is the Minister of Environment and Tourism. They gave the film a clean bill. We went to the coast to investigate the matter. Obviously bias towards the environment is supposed to be there for our kids, our grandkids, etc., etc. So there's no point in us to be in favor of Mad Max, to be honest. Because that was before they won the Oscars. So our position was, if there would be truth to the story, we'll be the first ones to back it up. So we went to the coast. We spoke to various people, NACOMA, coastal agencies, and people on the ground. We had a press conference where we invited everybody. Here's the interesting thing. Mad Max had environmental experts on payroll, on top of rehabilitation companies that belong to Namibians, who were tasked with completing the task. If you take the machinery that was in the desert at that time, and you see the film, you say, oh my goodness, yes, they destroyed the desert. But they don't realize that most of that stuff is CGI. So the perception of the environmental damage was created partly because there was no access. Journalists didn't have access to those sites when Mad Max was filming. It was very, very private. Security of the superstars was being considered, equipment and everything else. So that veil, that wall, created some of the perceptions, and once they found something, it blew up. To address the the environmental damage. It's very important to note that after Mad Max left that particular area, another film from France went into that same area right after that in December. And those pictures that were in the papers, they're not from Mad Max. They're from the film that followed. Now, environmental impact and it's true, in some areas the rehabilitation was not completed because it was completed 3 months after that. Even today, if you go to the Ministry of Environment and Tourism, who are the custodians of the parks, they will tell you, I mean, they are fine.
After hearing some of these contrasting views on the impact of international films on Namibia, it can be said that more research is still required to include more scientific data on the benefits and the extent of the effect on the environment. However, it is evident that the Namibian film industry has indeed seen growth over the years when it comes to the number of local productions and content quality. In addition, many filmmakers have benefited from government and private sector funded initiatives. However, the low government budget for film support institution remains a challenge which obstructs fast growth. As cited by most filmmakers, the low remuneration and the limited number of highly skilled Namibian crew to take up permanent jobs on international film sets are some of the barriers to the sustainability of the Namibian film industry. However, the production of major international films in Namibia will continue to play a significant role in job creation and contribution to revenue collection for government coffers. It is equally important for the government and private sector to regulate the film industry and ensure concerted efforts in the protection of the animal and plant species, especially in the Namib Desert. This will ultimately preserve the fragile ecosystem and natural environment for future generations.